Welcome to episode 1 of the Bears Cast Network podcast. Co-hosts Patrick and Aldo. How you guys doing?
I'm doing good, Pat. How you been?
Good. I'm excited to finally do this thing. I know we've been talking about it for a couple of years, so let's get to it. Let's see how this first one goes. All
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
First up is the Bears' new stadium, and as you know, I moved over to Arlington Heights not too long ago. 7 minutes from tailgating, about, and you're gonna get a nice ride there, tailgate every weekend, maybe see the game in person a couple times, and check out the whole entire campus that's going to be built there. It's going to be similar to what I've heard is the Rams Stadium potentially.
Yeah, for sure. Uh, anything that would honestly make it more of an enjoyable experience to go Soldier Field. Um, or than Soldier Field is currently. I meant to say, because as of right now, it's still fun to go to Soldier Field. It's just that when you're going there, you're spending 5 hours just in your car while you're a mile away
Yeah,
from the stadium.
yeah, and
So,
then Chicago weather.
yeah, and you never want, especially if it's a cold day, you don't want to be cramped up after you've just been sitting down watching the game for 3 hours. You don't want to be spending all that time
Oh
just
no. Yep.
on your way back home. And I think the move to Arlington Heights will be a real positive one because it's like you said, they're going to try to aim for something similar to the Rams or the Raiders Stadium. So give people an incentive to not just hop in the car and head home right away. They will actually, well, a lot of people might actually stick around and enjoy what's actually around, and it'll also give a lot of people some decent jobs, man. Like it's going to be it's going to be an experience, hopefully, and
Oh yeah.
it'll be like I hope a lot of good memories come from it.
Yeah, maybe 10 years out at this point. Rams Stadium is on about 300 acres. Bears Stadium is going to be on about 300 acres. I mean, the only difference, and the thing I'm kind of concerned about, so all the verbiage out there that everybody's putting out is that Arlington Heights taxpayers will not pay a dime for the stadium. I think everybody's overlooking that. They're saying stadium specifically, like words matter, right? So they're saying that word, but they're not saying the rest of the campus, the other 300 acres that are going to be involved in this full build. So I think we're going to have to chalk up some dough in order to get this thing built. But if we do so, what's happening right now is people are talking about the 300 acres for the Rams Stadium. It's a marvel. That campus is just insanely giant. I've only seen videos and stuff of people talking about it. Just it looks amazing, and they did it with basically syndicating the funding for that. So a lot of outside investors came in, put in funds to build that whole thing, and they took part ownership. As far as I know, the owners of the Bears do not intend to do that. It's all going to be privately funded by just them, is from what I've heard, and they can't generate enough cash to be able to put something up like the Rams Stadium. And I'm not just talking about the stadium, the whole campus itself with the business centers and it's just the whole gambit of stuff that they can possibly put in there. So the question is, like, are they going to seek outside funding or taxpayer funding or what else for the rest of the campus? Because we all know now, the president came on, they're going to build the stadium. It's not going to be specifically funded by taxpayers, except for the plumbing, streets, and stuff like that. The stadium will be paid for by the Bears, but what about the rest?
Well, I think a lot of people are like not taking into account that it all doesn't have to be built at once. You know,
Yeah, 10 years.
and yeah, it's like you said, it's 10 years from now, and with the fact that the Bears are going to be owning this stadium is going to add a lot more cash flow into their pockets as the years go on.
But the
And as of
McCaskies,
right now, from what I'm probably
go
wrong,
ahead.
so don't quote me on this. Their Bears have lose out like what 60% of their ticket revenue just to Soldier Field because of their renting and the revenue
Something
share
like
they have to
that.
do with them. So, like, that's just that they're basically doubling their revenue
Yeah.
into what they're actually be able to gain. So that's just going to increase what money they can get and what money they are able to
Hmm.
basically invest back into the company
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
building up those campuses. And as those get built up, that's just going to build up the revenue stream as they keep on
Oh,
going.
I mean, it's gonna be awesome. It's a no
I mean,
brainer.
it's going to become just a it's just a it is just basically a giant game of Monopoly for the Bears now. It's just
Oh yeah.
what's going to come first after the stadium is the
It's almost as awesome as the amount of trade potential and free agents and draft potential we have this year. It's like the same thing. It's an open book.
oh
Anything
yeah.
can happen.
If you're like a big nerd about business, then this is by far a giant rabbit hole that you could dive down into of what
Yeah.
the Bears could potentially do. It's
So I want to.
honestly the possibilities are honestly infinite. And personally, I don't really think it is an option for the Bears to not have anyone involved in this. It can 100% be all of them. It's just going to
I
take.
don't know about
It's just
that.
going to take a lot longer than everybody would. They say 10 years, but like I mean, I've worked in corporations for a long time now, and plans always get pushed back. So
They do. But the problem with the McCaskey specifically is most of their money is actually tied up in the organization. They can't just pull that out without
well,
selling the shares.
it's not just it's not just most of it, it's all of it. Like the McCaskies don't
I'm
have
sure they got
any
a couple
real
million put aside.
oh yeah, in a trust fund for their kids to go to college, yeah. And poor them only have a couple million. But
Yeah. You said billion, million. I don't know. Whatever.
it
Go
does
on. Go on.
it doesn't matter. Anyway, like I was saying, the like it's you're 100% right. The McCaskey's entire net worth is basically tied into the Bears, which is why they'll never sell it because they don't
Yeah.
really have anything else. But that's also why they're going to go all in on it because it's like you said, like they are 100% going to be making sure that they're this is the biggest and best experience possible because again, this is all they got.
Yeah.
So they have to make it work.
Oh
So
yeah. I mean,
there
it's
is
gonna do
no
or die.
yeah, there is
So
no option for failure. But they for what like 40, 50 years they've been leaning on the crutch of oh we don't own Soldier Field. Well, this
don't
is
own Soldier
theirs
Field. Don't
to
own Wrigley Field.
this is
All those
their
things.
chance to like actually have something outside of the Chicago Bears, obviously,
Hmm.
that's actually like their own and to actually like market themselves as something of an entertainment company, because what they've been putting out on the field outside of Justin Fields hasn't been doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay. So top three things you'd like to see in this campus. For me, I want a water park. I don't know. I'm a kid at heart. I want a water park there. I want to be able to go and just kind of hang out. A nice wave pool will do. I don't want to keep going to the Dells to just go see a water park or down to Yorkville, right? So I want to see a water park there. Another thing, a great business center that's open to veterans. I'm a veteran myself, so I'd love to like have that kind of thing going on there. And the third thing is some kind of like big entertainment center, kind of like Rosemont almost, like nice big circle with a ton of bars and restaurants and things that are Bears centric. It'll be a dream for me. How about you? What are your top three?
Well, 100% a convention center. It just the amount of different things you'll be able to do just with that alone is honestly mind-boggling. And the Bears have the potential to make it bigger, just as big, if not bigger,
Yeah,
than
what are
the
your top
Rosemont Convention
three?
Center. So it's like they could literally make it one of the best convention centers in the world and put it right next to the stadium.
Yeah,
So
I heard WrestleMania might come here because they'll
oh,
finally have a
that was
spot.
another thing that was actually gonna be my next one that I was gonna bring up. Like WrestleMania coming to Chicago, finally in a football stadium. Like we got really lucky with last year's WrestleMania, well, because usually the WWE is very strict on what stadiums they want to go into because they normally want at least 100,000. I don't know what miracle Soldier Field pulled to get them to go in there, but
I don't know.
it had to have been like the stars aligning. Now, and with this new stadium, then we can potentially see even more bigger pay-per-views showing up. So that'll be
Got
nice.
it. What's your
And then
third?
my third, it's definitely going to be concert venues. Like
Oh yeah,
I
that'd
just
be
want
cool. Right
to
by
be
the
able to
house, a
just
big con. I mean, hopefully it
do.
doesn't interrupt my sleep.
Oh, don't worry about your sleep. I know you. If you have to, you'll put on those headphones just to get a good amount of sleep.
Oh
But
yeah.
uh, I would love. Well, it would be just imagine you go out, you grab a burger from some random tailgate, you walk up, you enjoy a concert from one of your favorite bands, and you walk in, watch a Bears game right after, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
you leave right after. Go to you after the Bears game's done at like 3 o'clock. You go to a convention center to
I just
check
hang
out
out there all day,
whatever
every day. I mean,
like
like,
check
what's
out
the?
whatever expo they got going on the same day. Like
Oh yeah.
most people don't even do that in like a month, and you can potentially get it all done in one day.
Without
Like
having to go in the city, and that's the beautiful part
exactly
there.
without having to go downtown, and it'll be safer for people. It'll be less driving because let's face it, the majority of people who drive the Bears games don't live in the city.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a lot
50% of
of
all of them, like at least.
Yeah, like a good majority of them, like, and I'm not even taking into fact of the fans that are visiting, because realistically, Arlington Heights is closer to O'Hare than Soldier Field is.
Yeah, it's right there.
So it's going to be a much easier drive, not just for the people of Chicago, but for people who are visiting,
And the
because they can
Super
even.
Bowl, the World Cup. I mean, like
Oh yeah,
it's
we'll get a
endless,
Super
endless
Bowl
amount of
too.
things,
Like
right?
that's another thing. We'll actually be like picked for a Super Bowl.
My house will
Yeah.
be for rent for that week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 20K. Yeah, that's the going rate. Or that's what I've heard for NASCAR. Like they go for crazy rates. Shout out to 1,000 horsepower, our wrestling buddies, by the way.
Oh yeah,
As
Mike
we
Daniels
mentioned
and Johnny
wrestling.
Andrews.
Oh yeah, live pro
Yeah,
wrestling this Saturday, right? Over
this
in
Saturday,
where's it
11 o'clock at the Berwyn Eagles Center.
There
They'll
we go.
be they will be defending their tag team championships. So definitely go out and head out and watch them. It'll be a great time. Those guys put on a hell of a show.
Oh yeah, 6309 26th Street in Berwyn, Illinois. Go check it out. All right,
Mm-hmm.
let's move on to our next topic, which kind of leads to Bears' new president. I mean, what are your thoughts here?
Well, honestly, this has been a change that pretty much 95% of Bears fans have been waiting for the last 30 years, because pretty much
Yeah.
everyone and their mother and their grandmother hated Ted Phillips. So
Yeah, so let
because
me read some of his background here. Warren. So Kevin Warren, new team president and CEO, 59, boasts 21 years of experience as NFL executive with the St. Louis Rams from 97 to 2000, Detroit Lions from 01 to 03, Minnesota Vikings 05 to 19, and then commissioner of the Big Ten Conference from 2020 to 23, compared to Ted Phillips being an accountant and knowing the family. I mean, this is a huge, huge upgrade. Thank you, Ted, for leaving. You did a okay job. And now we got a big boy and an adult in the room who's done things. I mean, I can't think of a better person to run an organization.
Oh yeah, Ted Phillips has done amazing things to get the Bears to the $3 billion net worth that they're worth. But as for the product that's on the field and for that the
We
Bears
want to
fans
win.
have been watching for the last 30 years has not been the how I put the most consistent of experiences. Like we have had some pretty high highs with the 06 team going to the Super Bowl and having
then they failed.
then Rex Russell throws a pick six and
Yeah,
to
yeah.
steal the
And then
game.
and then I don't know what happened to him after that, but
Yeah. And we fielded some really good teams, but again, they've been extremely inconsistent in those time frames.
Yep.
Like everyone remembers the '06 Bears and even as recent as the 2018 defense as
Mm-hmm.
getting us to the playoffs, and many people thought that team could have gone to the Super Bowl, but
Double doink.
again, because like inconsistency has been the name of the game for the Bears for the last 40 years since Mike Ditka had left. It's been like we just haven't been able to get that groove. We haven't been able to find that. We haven't been able to find that culture of winning. So it's just been very hard to expect great things from a franchise that just hasn't been all about putting the best product on the field. So with this new president, like I understand that he was most likely brought in to help complete the new stadium, but he could
I think it's
probably
more of a culture changer. Like stadium, I think is a small piece of it. I think he's a disruptor and he's a leader and he's going to come in and expect excellence out of anyone. And if anyone doesn't want to meet that excellence expectation, they're out. And I think that's from what I like saw the interviews and everything. That's what I'm getting from him. You know, based on some of the leaders I've had and things. I'm getting a good vibe.
And yeah, I was going to be getting to that because of the fact that, unlike Ted Phillips, he does have, as you said earlier, like decades of experience actually
Oh
running
yeah.
football operations. So it's very nice change of pace. It'll be very interesting to see if the McCaskies actually give him the keys to run things the way he wants, or if it's just going to be another yes man for them just to get the things they want uh, going for them. You
And this
know,
man's got some perseverance. In 1963, as a young boy, he was struck by a car and told he may never walk again. Then he became a talented college basketball player at the University of Pennsylvania and later Grand Canyon University. I mean, he knows how to overcome things. I mean, so that's I think something he's bringing to the table as well, and I think that'll just bleed into everyone. So just the question, right, is will it be a culture change? I mean, absolutely, right. We've always been saying, me and you, right? I've been just talking back and forth. Oh, this person's awesome. This might be okay. You know, Nagy might. Okay, that looks kind of cool. He's an offensive guy with trick plays, and then but we always said, but the top hasn't changed. So how is this really gonna
yeah,
like what
it's
the top hasn't, and so now the top's changed. I know the owners haven't, but I don't think he's really gonna take much, stuff from the owners.
yeah. I mean, it's like you said, the Bears upper management, mainly the McCaskies, they tend to favor people that they have at the higher ranks and tend to keep them there. And they're not very results orientated from what I have seen from the outside looking in and from a pet band perspective. And it seems that like this new recent changes, even though some of it has been driven by people such as Ted Phillips retiring, it is more positive in how it's going, how it's looking. But at the same time, with how things have been, it's more like a I'll believe it when I see it kind of situation. So, not that I don't think Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles can't do a good job, but it's more like we need to actually see that sustained success that
Yeah, that's always the
we've
trick
been
there.
yearning for.
That's always the trick. All right, let's move it on into our Pro Bowl games. There's a water balloon fight, which we probably shouldn't have again. A really awesome dodgeball fight, and I mean Derek Carr. What's happening with him? That seems pretty awesome. And so, what do you think of the Pro Bowl games? And diving into maybe some quarterback topics here.
In terms of the Pro Bowl, I didn't really watch much of it. I mean, the Pro Bowl has realistically been kind of boring for the last like
They're trying to change it with this
15
one, right? I
years.
mean, like,
And I get it. They're trying to change up the formula. I mean, I did catch a little bit of that flag football game they were playing, and
that could
that
be
was
cool.
pretty that was pretty nice. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if they did more of things like that.
Yep.
Get some of that marquee talent actually on the field.
Pay the players a little bit more, right? Like they're making a lot of
Yeah,
money from players, pay
make it an
nothing,
actual incentive to actually get to the Pro Bowl instead of
show up
people like,
too.
yeah, like it's like make it so then like the top players who actually get selected actually play. You know, it's
Yeah.
like it's not really worth much when like almost every other player has a Pro Bowl selection now because the top three players in their position all opted out because
Yeah.
they
And you know
because
what?
their bodies are
It could
eat
be
from the
cool.
playoffs.
And it
You
could be
know,
cool because again, the Pro Bowl, they apparently the NFL asked Pat McAfee, texted him, "What did you think about the Pro Bowl games? Were they good? Were they bad?" So if they're asking him, they're probably asking other people, and it's like they're getting input from the outside, which is a really cool thing, and they're trying things, even if a water balloon fight probably doesn't work. Let's not do that again. Some of the other things might work, like flag football and other things. But
yeah,
you want to move on to the quarterbacks?
yeah. I mean, and since you brought him up earlier, let's start with Derek Carr. I mean, Derek Carr in my eyes is still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, just flat out.
Top 15,
And
top
I
10? What are we
have
talking?
Oh, definitely top 10. Let's just get it out of the way. He's top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Any team would love to have him. And the reason why the Raiders don't want him is because Josh McDaniels is a terrible coach. So
Yeah,
he
he's kind of
literally
proven
does
it.
not have a good track record at all as a head coach. I mean, we're talking about a guy who literally accepted a head coaching job in Indianapolis and then proceeded to say psych at the last second to a
Yeah,
professional
yeah,
organization just to keep his old job. You know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
I don't take that guy seriously. I
yeah.
and he it says something a lot about your coaching career when one of your biggest losses is to someone who literally started as an NFL head coach the day before
All right,
your
all right.
game.
So let's play this game. Give me your top two teams that you think each one of these quarterbacks is going to. So we'll start off with Carr. I'll give two, then you'll give two, and then we'll just go down the line.
All right,
Um,
so Derek Carr, I think he could potentially go to either San Francisco or Miami.
oh, both Super Bowl contenders. You know what? I'm
Yeah,
gonna I'm gonna go with. Let's see if I can change it up a little bit. Rogers. Oh, sorry. Carr will go to Miami. Would be a really good spot because I mean they just got everything. And he's young too, Carr. So I think
hmm
Miami would be great. And
and
then the other
new up
spot,
and coming head coach.
49ers. I think Carr
Like,
would be good for the 49ers just because like he's been tossed around, so he doesn't have that ego. And so he's you need coachable up there at the 49ers. You need a quarterback that fits in the system and does his thing. And I think Carr would be awesome. Just a
yeah,
matter of like, would they want him there because they might want someone a little bit more mobile?
and
They have Purdy, they have Lance, they're getting rid of Garoppolo.
and
It's kind of like, I
another
don't know.
destination possibly Seattle if they don't sign Geno
Yeah,
or if they
maybe.
don't go quarterback with their top five
Gino's
pick.
going to be a little cheaper though, so we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's moving
Yeah.
on to Rodgers. We got a lot to get through. So
Oh,
Aaron Rodgers, is he? What are your top two?
Rodgers is definitely going to be either the Raiders or the Jets, one of those
Raiders or
teams,
Jets?
because
So my,
like
my two picks are Green Bay, staying there because they owe him a bunch of money anyway, or Miami. If he goes to Miami, that's a Super Bowl winning team. I mean, maybe Tom
yeah,
Brady's even still trying to purchase Miami. He got in trouble, doesn't mean he's going to stop, right? So maybe that if he goes over there, I mean the talent he would have around him is amazing. He's getting older. He'd like another ring. The Raiders wouldn't be too good. Seattle wouldn't be too good. I mean, I think Miami would be the perfect fit. He wouldn't fit the 49ers because he's too too much about like what he wants kind of thing.
Well, not
But
only
then
that,
again,
he also publicly stated that he doesn't want to go to the 49ers. So,
yeah. And
and
then
I
the
believe he has a
Jets.
no trade clause on there, so he has full power to shoot that
Yeah,
down.
you're right. He did say that. So I mean, I'm saying either staying in Green Bay or going to Miami. All right, let's continue on. Daniel Jones.
Oh, he has no choice but to stay on the Giants.
Okay,
There is no other team. He has to stay on the Giants, and they don't resign him. He's a backup somewhere.
he's a
Like, don't
backup
get me
somewhere.
wrong. I
Yeah.
think the kid has a lot of talent. I think he can do a lot of good things, but he was so, how I put it, less than desirable his first 3 years, his first 4 years. Right, last year was his fourth year. My apologies. His first 3 years were just so bad that this year looked amazing, but he realistically wasn't even that great. It was just that that team was just incredibly well coached. Like
Yeah.
everything was just falling in the right places for them in order for them just to get to the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
Like this team played out of its mind just to get the 9-8.
Oh no,
You
it's
know,
awesome. Yeah, so that's my pick too, right? Like it's either he's out of here or I mean the Colts seem to be picking up strays and trying them out. So
oh
maybe
yeah,
no, I'm
their
kidding.
rent a
I'm kidding.
QB
Yeah,
system.
they're the QB system. I mean, they're gonna do it again, right? But it's gonna be either Brian Dable did a terrific job with him, squeezed every ounce of juice out of him. So I think he pretty
Yeah,
much hit his
and
ceiling a bunch of times. Played
that
out of his
was
mind in the playoff game. I mean, he was well coached. And
yeah.
so, hats off to Brian Dable. Is he going to want to stay with them or not? I mean, he can get him on the cheaper side or drop him, trade up, and get another quarterback. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. All right,
I
moving on
think
to go ahead.
for one, I wanted Brian Dable as the Bears head coach, like just straight up. I was really
Good.
upset when they didn't even interview him. But yeah, Daniel Jones, he has to take a cheaper deal with New York.
He
He's not
should.
getting even top 15 quarterback money.
No,
It's
no.
not
I
it's
mean,
not
I mean,
happening.
his quarterback play could have been, but towards the end of the year. But yeah, he's not a top 15 quarterback. I think he's very
No.
middle of the pack and all that. All right,
Yeah,
Geno
like
Smith. What's happening with him?
Gino, honestly, he played amazing last year. He literally
Unprecedented.
opened every single door possible for himself. So honestly, I feel like he could go anywhere, but he might want to stay at Seattle. Well, and
Yeah.
with the way that Pete Carroll runs his ship, he might be more than happy to stick with Gino.
Yeah, and
So
Pete Carroll's really good at squeezing out a young talent. And if Geno Smith he's gonna be cheaper than someone else potentially, and he's very well solidified, been there a very long time. He's
mhm.
kind of the underdog, still gets underpaid, which is great for for him. And then they get some new talent, young talent because he stays on, and he can just
Yeah,
do so
I
much
mean
with that. It's a great situation. If he doesn't go there,
it's
the Colts are always available for a trial for a year
well,
and see
I
how that
don't want to
goes.
like say the Colts will take any particular QB just yet because we don't even know who their head coach is yet. Same thing with the Cardinals. We don't know how those teams are
The
going
Colts
with
the Colts are on their fourth round of interviews. If you got to interview someone four times, I mean, you either know or you don't know. I think they're
yeah,
waiting until the
it's
Super Bowl is over because they might be trying to interview one of those offensive or defensive coordinators from the two Super Bowl teams. So that's my thought.
uh I mean, I suppose like you could probably try to go ahead and swipe away the Eagles defensive coordinator or
Go
the
go take Brian
Chiefs
Nagy
offensive
or
coordinator.
go take Nagy again.
Oh Lord, no.
Oh my goodness.
He yeah.
Yeah, he
Don't
needs
get me
some grown
wrong.
up.
His first year in Chicago was amazing, but after that, it was a downward spiral really fast.
All right,
Like,
moving on to Trubisky now. Do you want him back? No, I'm kidding. We're like, where is he going? It's a shame what happened to him with the Steelers, right? He was doing
yeah,
decent, and then so what are your top two teams for him? Is he going to be a
for
backup, a starter?
Trubisky,
What are the
like
top two?
he's going to be a backup again this year. I don't think there's anywhere he can realistically be a starter. Honestly, my best bet for him last year was to go to the Giants because he
Yeah,
realistically is a better player than Daniel Jones is, and he already knew
close.
Brian
Yeah.
Dable's system. So,
Yep.
and not only that, like he was a player that Dable knew, and he already knew how they already had great chemistry together, as evidence from the preseason game when they completely
So
demolished the
what are your
Bears.
top two teams for him?
Honestly, it will be the Giants just to go back to Dable again, and then probably stick on the Steelers just because he's probably already comfortable there. Like
Maybe.
I don't think he has a lot of options.
Okay.
He's gonna be a backup somewhere.
Yeah. So yeah, my thoughts, my top two are stay on the Steelers or go to Washington. Washington needs a quarterback also. All right, actually, you know what? Scratch the Steelers. I think you could do better. I think it's start at Washington or start for the Texans. Texans is kind of a long shot, but for
Yeah.
Washington, I mean, they were starting Fitzpatrick, right? I think he's solid and up there in talent with Fitzpatrick.
No, the Washington is actually starting Taylor Heineke right now.
Well, yeah, but I was saying Fitzpatrick
Um,
before he got injured and all that. So they're willing to take that kind
um,
of thing. Will they like him
no,
better than Heineke? I don't know.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is actually retired.
I
Was
know,
retired
but
last year.
when they picked him up to start him and before he got injured, they're
Yeah,
willing to take a backup and make him a starter. So
yeah,
that's the cool
because
part.
last year they went ahead and swiped up Carson Wentz, which honestly he's a much better player than what Washington allowed him to be.
That's what everybody
I don't
says
think
about him and every team he goes. I'm tired of trying to believe
it.
it.
I think he's just mentally. I think he's just broken. I think he's a broken
Mhm.
player. I mean it could eat away at you when your two of your backup quarterbacks have both taken the teams that you were supposed to be their savior for to the Super Bowl.
It's
And
I
like
mean, what are you gonna do? What
yeah,
are you gonna
like
do? He's a
that's
pro.
like yeah, no, 100%. He needs to show some mental toughness there. But yeah, Carson Wentz, like all the talent in the world, possibly up there with guys like Rodgers and Mahomes when he's in his prime, but he's
I wouldn't take it that far,
he's
but
lost it. He's
respect
lost
your
it though.
take. All right, let's
I,
move on
I
to someone who's not on this list. I'd like to jump and go to Jackson. Lamar Jackson announced, or there was a leak that that Baltimore and Lamar are $100 million away in their contract negotiations. That's a
so
far large sum. The next step is trade options here.
so I actually saw that, and it's actually speculation.
It
So
is.
no one actually knows what the quantity actually is
Yeah.
that they're actually separate on.
If he
The only thing
were
we
to
know is that
go,
it's a big number.
if
That's
he
the
were to
only thing that we know.
go, where do you think he'd go? Top two spots.
Top two spots that Lamar Jackson could go. I didn't really think about it much because I don't really think that Baltimore will trade him personally. I think he has to stay on Baltimore
Yeah, I think
because
so. He's
they
expensive.
fired Greg Roman for him. So they're going to get the contract done. It's just
Okay.
I think it's more on guaranteed money, not the total number.
Got
So
it. Got it. All right, moving on
um
to Murray then. Next person
Kyler
on our
Murray,
list.
he's staying on the Cardinals.
You think so? I mean, Call of Duty's not coming out again for another year or so, so he might have a good year, right?
Yeah, but then there's other things that might pick up, like the fact that they have proximity chat now. That's going to probably take up another 6 months of his life.
All
So, but
right, whatever. Yeah,
yeah,
so you're saying Kyler Murray is going to stay on the Cardinals and he's going to be
yeah,
their
that
starter.
contract's way too huge. No one's taking
Yeah,
it. No one's going to take it. They got to find a coach that'll be willing to coach them. Not that I think that they had the best coach anyway last year, and Kyler Murray was still amazing. I think Cliff Kingsbury was not cut out for the NFL.
No, and that's all right. That's all right. All right, Baker Mayfield. Where is he going? Top 2 landing spots.
Oh, he's definitely going to go back to the Rams, and probably I would say if I'm the Giants, I'm going to move on to Daniel Jones, pick up Baker Mayfield. He's a better player overall, better accuracy. He has their arm strength relatively the same, but Baker is just like he reads defenses better than Daniel Jones.
I mean, you're trading Daniel Jones, which is a proven beater car that gets you from A to B, for a lemon, which is Baker Mayfield, which has proven he can't. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not a big Mayfield fan. Like I don't think
Baker's I know you're not, but Baker Mayfield has not had a single season where he started the whole time around where he hasn't thrown for at least 24 touchdowns, I believe.
Injuries.
And so, well, yeah, he played his entire last season with Cleveland. He played with a torn labrum in his throwing shoulder, and he still didn't play.
The Panthers.
Well, with the Panthers, I mean, the Panthers were a bad organization.
Hey, I mean,
the whole entire team was failing.
Well, as soon as they traded him, they started doing good. They fired the coach. They traded him. All those. Yeah, that could have been attributed to the coach, right? It's just it's a thing. All right, and then next up is
I believe they traded him, and then they fired the coach.
So. Okay, yeah, that's what happened. All right, next up, Garoppolo, our Arlington Heights native here, went to Rolling Meadows High School, a couple minutes from my house. So where's he going? Coming to Chicago to be a backup? No, I'm kidding. Is he going to? I mean, the 49ers were such a great spot for him. Miami's a great option. Seattle's a great option. He probably doesn't want to go somewhere where the line's terrible because he's just going to get injured. Is he a backup at this point? Like, what's happening? What are your thoughts?
Personally, I think he probably will be. If we're going to go ahead with destination spots, I say the Raiders are probably a good spot for him.
That's a good one.
Him and Josh McDaniels do have history together. So
you're right.
Like, one of the few quarterbacks he can actually get that can actually run his system, So
that's one. How about the second spot?
The second spot, Jimmy Garoppolo is a good, reliable player. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility he goes to Seattle.
Okay, Seattle and the Raiders.
Seattle and Vegas, Okay. I think those are two very viable options for Garoppolo. I think so. But I think that if he's going to go to those places, it's most likely going to be a backup because both those teams have top 10 picks this year.
Okay. Yeah, and competing, the Raiders conference, all that. I have top 2 picks also. Raiders, potentially, but also New England, the Patriots. Why not go back?
I decided not to do the Patriots, mostly because of the fact that, one, I felt it was too easy, and two, like right now it's kind of a crap show in New England. It's not pretty. Like, there's not a very last year they had defensive coordinator being their offensive coordinator. Like, it seems like no one really knows what they're doing over there right now, besides Bill Belichick, and no one seems to understand where Bill Belichick's going. So. It's like they had a QB carousel when they didn't need to have it last year, I think, when it was very obvious that the issues were coaching related, which is kind of strange. Which is strange to think of with a Bill Belichick coach team, right?
Unless it was on purpose.
Oh, you think they were tanking for a pick?
Or Bill Belichick was trying to piss off the owner a bit, hiring – Matt Patricia is offensive coordinator. I mean, is he that, ignorant to where the league's headed to and all that? I don't think he is. I think he's a brilliant mind. He may miss a couple times, but everything he's been doing for the last couple of years I don't know. Might be leading down the path of he's trying to mess a couple things up because he was a little bit irritated.
I'm not saying that the move to make a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator can't work. I mean, if you look at Brian Daboll's career, he started off as a defensive guy and then moved towards and didn't actually start doing coaching offense until like I want to say like the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, that's
And
10 years experience.
well, yeah, but he started off as like a tight ends coach. And then he
Okay.
moved to quarterbacks coach and then he
That
moved to
makes sense. Not
you
straight
know.
offensive coordinator right off the
Again,
get-go.
I'm not saying they can't work. What I'm saying is that they kind of just threw Matt Patricia into the fire.
I think you've
When,
got the same chance as him to make it work. I mean, I'm just saying, or me. Like
well,
it's
I mean, I don't have a
not going to
nuclear
do much
engineering
here.
degree, so I'm not as smart as Matt Patricia, admittedly. But I mean, it's
It's
experience is
football,
experience.
not rocket science here. All right. Next
These
up, we're gonna.
playbooks.
Yeah, exactly. So next up, the Bears free agency and draft. So let's not mess this up, right?
Oh yeah,
So
it's
pick hoarding. How many times will the Bears trade down? We can get a couple things there. So what are your thoughts? I mean, this is amazing. This
oh
agency and draft that we're gonna have.
in terms of the draft, I think there's no way the Bears don't trade down at least twice. You
Yeah, yeah.
know, it it's in. I think there's even the possibility of them trading down 3 times in this draft. It might get
Maybe.
to the point where Roger Goodell might actually call that offense and tell them to make a fucking pick already. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it might
you
be.
know,
It might be.
it,
I heard as much as about 6 picks for the first rounder pick, including a first round this year and next year, and a whole bunch of other ones. So I mean, like,
I've seen some
it could be a lot.
ridiculous mock drafts. 90% of them were from Bears fans, and
Yeah, I know. It's just we want to dream here.
like the most realistic one I've seen is they trade down the Texans trade the Bears their number 2 overall pick and a second round pick along with maybe a player to move up one spot, and the Bears take that and then they take 2 of Indianapolis's first round picks.
We just take all the first round
And so,
picks. That's
yeah,
it.
I mean,
All of
again,
them.
like the Bears, there's 3 top shelf quarterbacks this year, and the Bears can probably smuggle like at least 5 top shelf picks from the teams that are in the top 10 this year.
Yeah.
And they're not all of them, probably except for Seattle, are very good teams. So it's
So
definitely a unique year.
3 times is what we're thinking, and then I mean, free agency. It's still a lot of speculation on who we might get.
Free agency
It's
is
such a big thing. Like we don't know. It's going to be like a scene in CSI probably in that office right now, where they have a board with a ton of like little pins with strings, and then like a ton of different scenarios, and it's all linking together. Oh man, it's probably crazy and fun.
Oh yeah. Personally, to me, free agency's got to be all about the trenches. You got to go all in on your O line and your D line in this free agency because there's a lot of good players that you can pick up in this year's free agency. You go literally, there's like the Bears realistically could go for 2 really good defensive line players and then swipe up a player with their top pick in the draft and their defensive line's fixed. You don't need that many like top shelf players to have a good D line because as long as the rotational guys are serviceable, and that was the problem with the Bears is that they only had rotational guys.
Yeah.
And you don't have those guys who were going to get that sack when you needed it.
Jones, I mean, he was a great pick, or pick right in the draft, and I mean he was really good. But everybody else, it's just kind of like backups here and there. Tevin Jenkins supposed to be like an amazing talent, but just so much injuries. That was a bad pick. I mean, it happened, right?
I mean,
body control there, like finding out the history. Because as soon as we picked him up, like it seemed like the next day he got surgery, like on his spine. Like,
well, from what I recall, Telvin Jenkins didn't actually have injury history when he was in college. So it was just kind of a thing that just happened when he popped up in the pros. Like Telvin Jenkins he might have had like a back injury, that he sustained maybe in the combine, and that that just didn't make it to the press, and maybe that's why he fell to the second round.
Or medical, right? Like he didn't get a full medical checkup until he became a pro, and then they did like a full thing, and they caught something weird.
Oh, that's
it could have been a lot of things
as well. Because from what I recall, Tevin Jenkins was projected to be a first-round pick, and
yeah, I mean,
when
talent.
When the Bears moved him to right guard, he was actually one of the best right guards in the NFL.
Yeah, and then we have what's his name, Leatherwood. I mean, if we can fix him over the offseason, he could be amazing right or left guard also.
Yeah, but you kind of need to have the attitude for it. And to be a left guard in the NFL, you kind of got to be a mauler. And I don't think that's Alex Leatherwood.
Pick up a left guard. Leatherwood's our rotational guy for Tevin Jenkins if he could stay healthy, right guard. Or pick up another guy. We need the best center on the free agency market. Number one, the best left guard, and then we need the best nose tackle. Then we can move out from there. Then we need receivers. We need all that kind of stuff. Like a number one receiver. I'd love to have a number one receiver. But so those are that's my top like kind of picks. Nose guard, center, left guard, and number one receiver.
Oh yeah, and you're 100% right that center is very much needed. I'm in the mindset that center is probably the most important position on the line outside of left tackle. Yeah. Because if your center
left tackle, I think would be more important than left guard.
If your center is not good, then everyone in the line doesn't matter. Straight up, because then everyone's just able to just run up the middle on you. Yeah. And that's personally why I don't like Sam Mustipher, because he just gets manhandled by everybody. Sure, the guy has a beautiful snap every single snap, but that doesn't matter when your guy needs help from your right and left guard every single play and can't handle anyone one-on-one.
Yeah, Kevin Warren's got to pull some strings and tell us all the secrets.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing that I think was a great option for Kevin Warren, is because he was, like you said, commissioner for the Big Ten. So he had a great view of all those players. So he knows some of those diamond and rough. And so for the next few years, we're going to have a real good look in the college football scene, which is why I think it was amazing that Luke Getsy got to be the head coach for one of the teams in the Senior Bowl, because that was just, I think, an amazing a scouting opportunity that the Bears got to have.
Oh yeah,
that was much needed. So I actually saw a mock draft which was hilariously filled with nothing but Senior Bowl players.
I mean, why not? Why not?
So,
hey, no, they're all bad.
Why not? They're all good players, right?
We'll take them.
But it's like, it's going to be interesting.
So, next up, last topic we want to cover. What kind of receivers do you think the Bears should get? I mean, are we talking about Adams? AJ Green retires. Is D Hop available because of that big Murray contract? I mean, what are we looking at here?
Personally, unless you're the Cardinals, who are going to rebuilding, which is a possibility with them having the number 3 overall pick, like, you don't trade D Hop. He's still a top 5 receiver in the NFL.
Anybody can make the mistake, just like the Titans did with Brown, right? Like give him up. We love him. Look, if he's supposed to be, if Fields is supposed to be the next, wow, I'm blanking out the quarterback for the Eagles, Hurts. If he's supposed to be the next Hurts, then we need a team to mistakenly give us the number 1 receiver. Like, we got to follow the formula here. And the Cardinals, D Hop. I mean, that's the formula. We need D Hop.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's just one thing that's a little bit different, is that AJ Green is a top 5 receiver, and he's still in his prime, whereas DeAndre Hopkins is on the tail end of his career. So maybe not give a first-round pick for him.
No. We want to find low talent, right? But is he a number 1 still, you think?
100%. He's still a number 1 receiver. It's just that when you trade a first round pick for a player, you typically want them on your roster for at least 4 years.
Okay,
And
let me throw
I don't
another.
know if DeAndre Hopkins has that much
I don't
good
know.
play
Yeah,
left in him.
I got another one for you. How
I
about
still love
Evans? Evans to the Bears is our number one. I mean,
it.
Brady's
Again,
gone. They're probably going to start rebuilding. Why not get rid of Evans? That's a high price. You might fetch a number
same
one.
issue with DeAndre Hopkins. Mike Evans been in the league for 8+ years now, and he's up there in age. Like, he's still, again, one of the best receivers in the league. The
Best
question
red
is,
zone
how long is
scorer,
he
in my
going to be
opinion.
that? How long is he going to be able to keep that up? You know?
Gotcha.
And
So
the
what you're
Bears,
saying is we need Adams, Travis Kelce. We need his brother.
Jason to be our center. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just the dream team over here. I
Yeah,
mean,
of
we have
course.
enough picks for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course we do. But personally, if we're going to be looking at receiver, it's going to have to be through the draft. I think there's a lot of good
Okay.
receiver talent this year, so the Bears can definitely get a number one receiver if, like, say they do somehow manage to swipe up both the Texans' first round picks this year. They're able to go ahead and get
That'd be
the
awesome.
best receiver in the draft. But again, this draft is very, very, very deep in talent.
Yep.
So
So
there's
is
going to
defense going to
be
be pushed down, where all the good defensive players are going to be pushed down because so much good offense, or because we need to
honestly, I
rebuild
think
that
this is one of
defense?
those drafts where all the defensive players go in the first round.
Ooh, so we're gonna have to
Because
pick up a bunch of defensive players then. I mean, like we need to rebuild our defense a
yeah,
ton.
yeah.
So we'll see how it all
Because
goes. There's a lot happening, right?
because again, like in a lot of these mock drafts, and it's not just fan mock drafts, it's like a lot of former GMs who are posting their mock drafts are expecting the Bears to get like 3 to 4 second round picks this year. So
Yeah.
the Bears are going to have a lot of opportunity to go ahead and swipe up some very, very good talent this year. It's definitely an off season that you can go ahead and build everything up, and in literally 1 year. So this will be an amazing year, but will be a complete nightmare in 4 years when we have to sign all those players
Ooh,
back.
oh my goodness. I mean, we better do some, working in the meantime, restructuring. I have faith in the team now. All right, so that's that wraps it up. I mean, that was episode 1 of the Bears Cast Network podcast. I think went pretty well. Bear down, and Patrick and Aldo out.
Have a good day, everybody.